Look, if you're reading this right now, there's a good chance you've already made at least 3 mistakes with your money this week. Maybe you bought something you didn't need because it was on sale. Maybe you checked your investment app 5 times in one day, feeling your stomach drop every time the numbers went red. Or maybe you're sitting there, paralyzed, watching your savings account do absolutely nothing while inflation quietly eats away at it like rust on an old car. I get it. When you're just starting out, the world of investing feels like walking into a casino where everyone else knows the rules except you. There are 1,000 voices screaming at you from every direction. Buy crypto. No, buy index funds. Actually, forget that. You need to day trade. Wait, real estate is the only real wealth. And then there's that guy on social media who turned $300 into $3 million in 6 months. And you're wondering what cosmic secret he knows that you don't. But here's what nobody tells you, and what Charlie Munger spent his entire life trying to hammer into anyone who would listen. Most of what you think you know about investing is probably wrong. Not slightly off, not just incomplete. Fundamentally, dangerously wrong. Charlie Munger wasn't some Wall Street hotshot who got lucky. He was Warren Buffett's partner for decades, the man behind the curtain of one of the most successful investment records in human history. But unlike most financial gurus who speak in polished sound bites and empty motivation, Munger was brutally, almost painfully honest. He didn't care if you liked him. He cared if you understood reality. And the reality he understood better than almost anyone was this: investing isn't really about money. It's about behavior. It's about psychology. It's about the stories you tell yourself and whether those stories are helping you build wealth or quietly destroying your future. So let's talk about what Munger actually believed, the stuff that doesn't make it into the highlight reels, the uncomfortable truths that most people starting out never hear until it's too late. The first truth: you're not as smart as you think you are. When you're young and just getting into investing, there's this intoxicating feeling that comes with making your first few trades. You buy a stock, it goes up, and suddenly you feel like a genius. You start thinking, maybe you have a gift for this. Maybe you can see patterns others can't. Maybe you're the exception. Munger would tell you to stop right there. That feeling, that's not insight, that's ego. And ego is the most expensive thing you'll ever pay for in investing. He used to say that the first rule of fishing is to fish where the fish are. The first rule of investing is knowing what you don't know. Most people starting out do the opposite. They jump into complex derivatives, speculative penny stocks, or whatever's trending on social media, thinking they can outsmart the market. They can't. You can't. Nobody can, at least not consistently. The professionals, the people managing billions of dollars with teams of analysts and supercomputers, they can barely beat the market averages. What makes you think you can do it from your phone during your lunch break? But here's the thing Munger understood that most people miss. Admitting you don't know something isn't weakness. It's the foundation of wisdom. The moment you accept that you're not as smart as you think you are, you stop making stupid decisions. You stop chasing hot tips. You stop trying to time the market. You stop gambling and start actually investing. The second truth: patience is a competitive advantage. We live in a world that's engineered to destroy your patience. Every app is designed to give you instant gratification. Every notification is designed to spike your dopamine. Every advertisement is screaming that you need this thing right now, that waiting is for losers, that the opportunity will disappear if you don't act immediately. And then you bring that same mindset to investing, and you get destroyed. Munger and Buffett built their fortune on a principle that sounds almost boring. They bought good companies and held them for decades, not months, not years, decades. While everyone else was jumping in and out of positions, trying to catch every wave, they just sat there waiting, compounding. There's a reason Einstein supposedly called compound interest the 8th wonder of the world. It's not magic, it's math. But it only works if you give it time, real time. The kind of time that feels uncomfortable because you're not doing anything, you're not getting that dopamine hit of action. When you're starting out, this is almost impossible to internalize. You want results now. You want to see your account balance explode. You want to tell your friends about your wins. But Munger would tell you that impatience is a tax on wealth. Every time you sell because you're bored, every time you chase the next shiny thing, every time you react to short-term noise, you're paying that tax. The market rewards patience in a way that almost nothing else in modern life does. But you have to be willing to feel like you're doing nothing while everyone else is doing something. You have to be willing to look boring while others look exciting. You have to be willing to be called slow while others are called sharp. And then 10 years later, you look around and realize that all those sharp, exciting people are exactly where they started. Or worse, while you've quietly built something real. The third truth: your biggest enemy is you. Here's what nobody wants to hear. The market isn't your enemy. The economy isn't your enemy. Inflation, recession, volatility, none of that is really your enemy. Your enemy is the person staring back at you in the mirror. Munger was obsessed with human psychology, with all the ways our brains are wired to sabotage us. He studied cognitive biases the way doctors study diseases. And what he found was that most investment failures aren't about picking the wrong stock. They're about making emotional decisions at exactly the wrong time. When the market is soaring and everyone's making money, you feel invincible. You start taking bigger risks. You start believing the good times will last forever. You stop being careful. That's when you're most vulnerable. When the market crashes and everyone's panicking, you feel terrified. You want to sell everything and hide. You can't imagine things ever getting better. You make decisions based on fear. That's when you lock in losses and miss the recovery. This cycle has repeated itself over and over throughout history, and it will keep repeating because human nature doesn't change. The names change, the technologies change, the specific assets change, but the psychology stays exactly the same. Munger's advice for beginners was simple but brutal. Learn to recognize your own emotional patterns. Notice when you're feeling greedy. Notice when you're feeling afraid. Notice when you're feeling overconfident. And then, this is the hard part, do the opposite of what your emotions are telling you to do. Buy when you're scared. Hold when you're bored. Sell when you're euphoric. It sounds simple, but it requires a level of self-awareness and discipline that most people never develop. The fourth truth: simplicity beats complexity. The financial industry has a vested interest in making investing seem complicated. The more complex it seems, the more you think you need their help, the more products they can sell you, the more fees they can charge. But Munger was a fierce advocate for simplicity, not because he wasn't smart enough to understand complex strategies. He was probably smarter than everyone trying to sell you those strategies. He advocated for simplicity because it works better. For most people starting out, the right investment strategy can be written on a napkin. Spend less than you earn, invest the difference in low-cost index funds, and don't touch it for decades. That's it. That's the whole game. You don't need to understand derivatives. You don't need to trade options. You don't need to analyze balance sheets or predict interest rate movements or have opinions about geopolitical events. You just need to consistently put money into diversified, low-cost investments and leave them alone. The beauty of this approach is that it removes you from the equation. You can't outsmart yourself. You can't make emotional decisions. You can't get bored and do something stupid. You just keep feeding the machine, and the machine keeps working. Munger would tell you that if your investment strategy requires constant attention, constant trading, constant decision-making, you don't have an investment strategy. You have a job, and it's probably a job that pays less than minimum wage once you account for all the time and stress. The fifth truth: character matters more than intelligence. This is the one that really separates Munger from most financial advisors. He didn't just care about returns. He cared about how you got those returns. He cared about integrity. He cared about character. He used to say that in the long run, you can't build wealth without building character. Not because the universe has some moral scorecard, but because the habits that build wealth are the same habits that build character: patience, discipline, honesty, humility, long-term thinking. When you're starting out, you're going to be tempted to cut corners. You're going to hear about insider tips. You're going to see people making money in ways that seem shady. You're going to wonder if being ethical is just leaving money on the table. Munger would tell you that's short-term thinking. The people who cut corners might win for a while, but they always lose eventually. Either they get caught or they get so used to cutting corners that they can't stop, and eventually they cut one corner too many. But beyond the practical consequences, there's something deeper. When you invest with integrity, when you build wealth slowly and honestly, you get to keep your self-respect. You get to sleep at night. You get to look at your success and know it's real, that you earned it, that nobody can take it away. That might sound corny, especially when you're young and just want results. But talk to anyone who's been investing for 30 years, and they'll tell you that Munger was right. The people who chased fast money and compromised their principles, even the ones who didn't get caught, they're not happy. They're paranoid, cynical, empty. The people who built wealth slowly, who did it right, they have something money can't buy: peace. The sixth, truth. Learning never stops. Munger was famous for being a learning machine. He read constantly, across every discipline: psychology, history, physics, biology, philosophy. He believed that to be a good investor, you needed to understand how the world actually works, not just how markets work. When you're starting out, it's easy to think that once you learn the basics, you're set. You read a few books, maybe take a course, and then you're good to go. But that's not how it works. The world changes, markets evolve, new technologies emerge. What worked 20 years ago might not work today. What works today might not work tomorrow. But more importantly, you change. Your goals change. Your risk tolerance changes. Your life circumstances change. Investing isn't a one-time decision. It's a practice, a discipline that you refine over your entire life. Munger would tell you to be a student forever. Read everything, question everything, especially question your own assumptions. The moment you think you've figured it all out is the moment you become vulnerable. And here's the beautiful thing. Investing is one of the few areas where your learning compounds just like your money. Every book you read, every mistake you analyze, every principle you internalize, it all builds on itself. 10 years from now, you won't just have more money, you'll have more wisdom. And that wisdom will help you make better decisions, which will create more wealth, which will give you more experiences to learn from. It's a virtuous cycle, but only if you commit to it. Only if you stay curious, only if you remain. So here we are. You came looking for secrets, for some hidden formula that would unlock wealth. And what did you get? Be patient, be humble, be simple, be honest. Keep learning. It probably sounds disappointingly ordinary, but that's the whole point. Charlie Munger spent decades proving that extraordinary results come from ordinary principles applied with extraordinary consistency. There is no secret. There is no shortcut. There is only the work, the discipline, the patience, the character. And here's what I want you to understand, really understand, not just intellectually, but in your bones. You are standing at the beginning of something that could transform your entire life. Not because you're going to get rich quick, you're probably not, but because you have time. You have the most valuable asset any investor can have, and most people squander it. The decisions you make right now, in these early years, they're not just about money. They're about who you're becoming. Every time you choose patience over impulsiveness, simplicity over complexity, learning over ego, you're not just building wealth. You're building yourself. You're becoming the kind of person who can handle wealth, who can sustain it, who can use it wisely. There will be moments when you doubt this. When your friends are making money on some crazy bet and you're just sitting there with your boring index funds. when the market crashes and you wonder if you should have stayed in cash, when years go by and it feels like nothing's happening. In those moments, remember Munger. Remember that he and Buffett weren't smarter than everyone else. They weren't luckier. They weren't born with some special gift. They just understood these principles and refused to abandon them. Even when it was hard, even when it was boring, even when everyone else was doing something different, you can do the same thing. You can start today, right now, with whatever you have. It doesn't matter if it's $100 or $10,000. It doesn't matter if you're 20 or 40 or 60. What matters is that you start and that you commit to the principles that actually work. Because here's the truth that nobody tells you. Most people never start. They talk about it, they think about it, they wait for the perfect moment or the perfect amount of money or the perfect level of knowledge. And while they're waiting, years pass, opportunities compound for other people, and they stay exactly where they are. Don't be most people. Be the person who starts, be the person who stays consistent, be the person who learns from mistakes instead of repeating them. Be the person who values character as much as returns. Be the person who, 30 years from now, looks back and realizes that this moment, right here, reading these words, was when everything changed. Not because you found a secret, but because you found something better. The courage to do what actually works, even when it's not exciting, even when it's not easy, even when nobody's watching. That's what Charlie Munger would tell you. That's what nobody else will. And that's what will make all the difference.